Greetings. Welcome to Mystic Moons. There's a lot of things going on all over the world. Every single country seems to be having something that is internally and externally bringing chaos to each and every political country. NATO, Western civilization, Western cultures, in fact, the whole atmosphere of the planet is involved in struggles, big time struggles. Some people are like itching for war, World War III. And why are they itching towards this? Why is this warfare going on? And it affects us all because, hey, do you want to have your place look like Gaza? Do you want your place to look like Ukraine? I mean, it's something, do you want to get blown up to bits? Nobody consciously wants to get blown up to bits. But then again, a lot of people don't even want to deal with the discussion of where politics are at, or where the political climate, where our humankind seems to be going, is going. Every time you have a moment of peace, or seemingly peace, then you hear another clamor in another part of the world. And it seems like the same players are going after violence. Why is this itchy desire to see people in pain? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Oh, let's get a better one of this. We have to ask ourselves, what do we want? And what are we seeing? What kind of passion is in the air that's making this warfare go on? And who and what is the reasons why this warfare? So it's a lot of questions in one swoop. It's a lot of questions to ask. Right now, we can start with our own hometown of the United States. The United States has always been a player for military enterprise, hegemonic activity. And you can see that it started with, the conquest of the indigenous people in this country 250 years ago, something like that, 300 years ago. Probably started way before then, but recorded history of the United States, Estados Unidos. So we could say that this urge to have other things, your things. I want your things. I mean, maybe that's the goal of everybody. Like, we look envious at the other person and we say, I want to have your attributes. I want to have your assets. Perhaps that is the conditioning for human mistreatment, human warfare, the lust for other people's things, right? And right now, we have about 7 or 8 or 9 countries in a war zone. Recently, his administration has opened up South America under the guise of being drug peddling. Now, the United States has a drug culture. The United States has a drug culture. You can't deny it. And you could say, okay, so we legalize cannabis, marijuana, pot, whatever you want to call it, dope. And that's no big deal. But yet it is a big deal. It is a big deal. Have you seen a bunch of towns and cities of people just smoking cannabis, smoking marijuana, the way they act? And what is when you're stoned? When you're high, you're like, hi. Not high as hello, greeting, but I mean, you're separated from your body and your mind. You could put like a loaf of bread in between both of them. You can put a spaceship in between your mind and your body. Somebody who's stoned or on drugs. So, and the main thing about the drug culture here in the United States is the fact that it's never explained. It's never, the almighty question is, why does American society need narcotics, need drugs? And that's a separate issue altogether. But we just have to acknowledge the fact that living in the United States is rather difficult, right? It's easier to function when you're not exactly, when you can feel separated from the activities of what's going on. It's easier to function. It's easier to be ignorant. It's easier to like not pay attention. It's easier to be stoned and live in a drug fueled reality than to see what we are as a people. What are we? I mean, we have a lot of potential in the United States, and a lot of us are like overwhelmed with our potential, and that a lot of us just can't see a way how to get through, through the piles and piles and piles of crap that we have to endure. And of course, other people are stronger than other people, and other people are weaker than other people. But that's just the way. No one, there's a lot of, you have gifts, I have gifts, other people have different gifts. We have yet to realize or to be saturated or happy with our present condition. But anyway, and the same thing with politicians. Now, a politician is a person who's a mouthpiece for the masses. They're supposed to represent not their own private urges and desires, but the needs of the people that they were hired to speak for. But that's a separate issue again. But we're talking about when one of your politicians decide it's time to go to war, it's time to murder other people, it's time to show them the hard and ugly edge. Have you listened to the Secretary of War? And right away that tells you, it used to be the Secretary of Defense. Now it's, forget about it. It's all out in the open. There's no hide and seek peekaboos. There's no Hello Kitty. There's no, it's like, watch out, I'm coming. It's like that. Now, Trump's drug war, his drug boat war, now they're just out in the Caribbean, just bombing up, exploding, as I say, drug ships. And they've had about, 20-something raids, notable raids on these boats in the water. Now, any fisherman could be on these boats, correct? You or I could be like out there on a broken down yacht or a refurbished sailboat, whatever. And then we could be mistaken for whatever, a drug cartel member. Now, you would think that if somebody's really doing drugs on an international level, they would be in a better ship. Now, this last incident, which happened recently enough, that they bombed this ship, which looked like it couldn't even go like more than 25 miles in either directions to get to the mainland of the United States. And I mean, it was a shabby boat. I mean, it was like glued together. Fiberglass glued with fiberglass glue. But it was bombed once, and then an hour, and then like a couple of guys didn't get scattered to smithereens. They were like on top of the remains of the fiberglass boat, wooden boat, whatever, it's canoe, and then the United States ships, planes, went and bombed them again to get and they were standing on top of the remains of their vehicle. They could have thought, oh, nobody bombed us. The ridiculous, the African Queen style. The name of the African Queen was that Bogart movie done in the 40s or the 30s that ran like crap and looked like crap. And these boats that they're bombing on, some of them is similar. You could call them all the African Queens. Now these two guys were like up there, help, help, help. They saw an airplane and help, help, help. And what does the United States do? It's very sad. It's very sad. The United States went down and like blew those two dudes up and said, that's the enemy. Now, if you, forgive me if I'm wrong, but like we're better than this. We're better than this. It's very hurtful. It's painful to like see that these couple of guys who wanted to be rescued at sea. And they could have thought their engine blew up. They didn't know that they were bombed out. It could happen so fast. They were disorientated. I wasn't there, but you could just see something happens and boom, boom. And then you survive and your whole vehicle of transportation is just gone, gone. Anyway, you can imagine it. So that in itself is it's hitting everybody like in a very sore spot. I mean, it's not something that we would have thought that our country, United States, would do. It's not something that we should be proud of. In fact, we got to ask: is this incident, I'm oversimplifying, of course, but is this incident the snag in the whole Trump administration's get these drug mules, these drug cartels? Is this the way to go? Or is this, I mean, didn't Trump say, around Thanksgiving, which was a few days ago, uh, I'm getting ready to attack you? But is this the image the United States wants? Or this is something that just happened and the press, etc., are like riding with this? It's like, doesn't it hurt inside of you, or the core of you, to imagine if you were those two people, those two men? I'm assuming they're men who were like bombed a second time, and just the idea of just doing that to you, doing that to someone, it's harsh, isn't it? It's very harsh. And then you think back too, is this war really about, with South America, Venezuela, is this really about drugs? When Trump pardoned one of the biggest kingpins ever, the ex-president of Honduras. Now, whose name was Juan Orlando Hernandez, pronouncing it, butchering the last name a bit. But Hernandez, right? Juan Orlando Hernandez. He was in the federal clink. He was in the clink for 45 years. He got the sentence. 45 years. He only served 2 years. And not only was he in the clink for the Fed prison, he was, and convicted, of course. He was for $8 million fine. Get that? $8 million. Now, none of these fishermen, these boats, or these drug, low level pushers could even get together like 500K, I'm sure. But this guy, he was fined $8 million. Now, I don't know if it was paid right. I'm sure it was. I'm not sure. But $8 million fine plus 45 years in prison for drug dealing, right? And after 2 years, President Trump said recently, a couple weeks ago, oh, it's okay. You can leave. You got bad treatment. Now, doesn't that, I mean, if somebody had like 40, I think he had 40 tons of cocaine, if somebody like that was pushing that amount, now I can't see these shabby little boats that look like, as I said, the African Queen, that, Humphrey Bogart movie with Katharine Hepburn, old time movie. They look like that. Now, I would think you would need like some more. If you were really dealing that, you wouldn't be so tacky, shabby. You would do it on a more higher level. You would do it on, you would have like at least a yacht or something. Yeah, I mean, you would do it with more style, more money. Now, the question we have to ask: why will this drug war of the Trump administration, this drug boat warfare, be found illegal? Illegal. All right? Let's start asking these questions. Will it be found illegal? Let's see now. Let's get this. Will the energies of the universe find that this act of murder, it is murder, pulling the trigger, pulling the bomb, pulling the machine gun, however they're using it, will this be found illegal in the eyes of humanity, in the eyes of our Constitution? Now, Obama and other presidents and Bush have all slaughtered people because for reasons, not just because, without due process. I mean, the people weren't captured, and they were, and put in the galley, and then brought to federal to a detention and booked and so forth and so on. They were not. They were not. They were simply, I got you. One-sided. You're it. Now, you have to think about, okay, so what are these people? They didn't matter. They were poor. They were this. They were that. But what you do to others, can one day all of us could be on that side of the others? Isn't it entrusting the power of a few towards the many to do what they want? Lives are worthless. And we're into a very throwaway culture, very throwaway attitude about the rest of us. If you don't have enough money, if you don't have enough clout, then you're nobody. And let's assume that these boats that were bombed, the people were like no one. Did you find anybody, a millionaire who was bombed? No. How much? And these people, fishermen, go out into the Caribbean waters and they do fish. It's very hard to distinguish between who is carrying what, a load of tuna or a load of dope, a load of cocaine, a load of cannabis. Now, the first thing we get is the King of Cups. The King of Cups. Now, this could be for the aggressive, this could be for the sympathy, the aggressive sympathy, or the aggressive nature. Drugs are bad. Yes, drugs are bad. But drugs, there's also pharmaceuticals, which are also drugs, and they're not bad. But you can say, again, drugs are bad. You cannot blame a country for your country's minuses. Having a culture that needs drugs is a minus, and it is a temporary situation. It's not permanent, because it cannot continue if your constituents need to be stoned. Not every one of us have talked to a person on the drugs. I mean, if you're straight and you're talking to a dope head, it's very, very hard to have business meetings with one. It's very, very hard to have conversation in general, because you're not in the same wavelength. And I find them, when you're talking to somebody who's all doped up, especially for business, they're very, I'm talking right now. I'm me. So here we have the Page of Cups, which is again the idea of floating around warfare. Now, what is it? Now, this Page of Cups could be, we could get their oil. You do know Venezuela has lots of gold. And what is NATO and the US right now? We're in a bind, a financial bind. So what do you do when you don't have money, but you act like you do have money? Or when you have 20%, have 80% of everything there is to have, and the 80% is trying to get a few scratches together, right? What do you get? You get discord. You get a lot of animosity. And here we have the Four of Pentacles. Me, myself, and I card. That's what I like to call it. The me, myself, and I. Love it. Myself. Now, the question is, though, will Trump's drug boat war be found illegal? That's the question. And so far, we have the King of Cups, trying to get that sympathy about the drug addicts, the drug problem, and it's all somebody else's fault. And then we have the Page of Cups, which is, I would say that's kind of being directed, from the top down. top down. Well, a lot of things, stuff from the bottom up, from the top down. And then we have this pentacle energy. Blame your problems on somebody else, and it's easier for you to not deal with it. But then again, it doesn't answer the question, does it? Will his bombing of anonymous bombing of these boats, of these poor people's boats, of these pushers' boats, or these poor people's boats, will that be found illegal? The Fool. The Fool. The Fool could be interpreted as many ways. Many ways. The Fool. Are we foolish enough to be blaming others for our own lack of what? Of not stamina, of character? Or are we just playing a game? Now, we are playing a game because all of a sudden it was noted, somehow a video was leaked of those two guys coming back for seconds and getting blown up. That just shows the vulnerability and the hostility that we have for, and the contempt. We're going to do the job. Have you listened to the Secretary of War, Pete, talk about the way he goes after law and order? He's a scary guy. And the Fool is trying to justify something. Trying to get into position, to position themselves between these two, trying to position yourself with it. The me, myself, and I, four of pentacles, four of coins, and the Fool trying to work this situation. And then finding themselves to having to, well, they aren't really pinpointing on somebody else. They're passing the buck. In other words, somebody's got to be blamed for this. And then we have the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups. We got the might, we can do it, but it's pushback. There's pushback. You're asking the question, is this the kind of country that you want to be known as? Is this America's best? Is this the United States best? Is this the way the United States is going to be? Action first and then thought later. That's like speaking without having a plan. Just speaking anything, any type of garble that comes out of your mouth, but you're doing it first with murder and saying it is this. Somehow that doesn't, that's iffy, isn't it? It just doesn't seem to work that way. How can you embrace hearts and minds when you're just murderously acting? You're acting without thought, without consequences. Now, the spirit among all of us of living on this planet, we have humankind. We have a universal, moral scale. We do. We have morality on this planet. Even if I don't know you, you don't know me, we don't know them. Them do not know us. However you want to say it, whatever pronoun you want to use. The fact of the matter is, are you content to have us humans, us human animals, us earth animals, treat each other in such a manner? Because let's just say in interdimensional or some other planet comes to our planet and they see us behaving in this hideous, horrific manner. What do you think they think of us as a species? What do you think? This is the way we treat our own. And then look at this. We have the walk away card. All this hearts, not hearts. Yes, I mean, cups are hearts. Look at this, walking away. The Eight of Cups. It's almost as though Trump's the Trump administration's war on drugs has lost its helium, has lost its edge. We do not look good. We do not look good. Between the pardon of this big drug kingpin who had to pay $8 million fine, plus sentenced to 45 years in the federal clink, and we let him go. Oh, you suffered enough. But these people who have lost their lives in these boats of anonymous killing have, what do they have? 2 pennies, 2 pesos. Hello. Yes. I mean, how can you say? Can you say that you're proud of the actions that have happened on the worldwide stage? I have to call it a stage because you do things like that in public. You don't give a damn what anybody else thinks. This is my way. I'm going to be harsh. I'm going to be the policeman, the policewoman. I am the law. Okay. Until who comes along is going to be bigger and badder than you. That's a difficult situation. And people, I would say, you could even say walk away. Like they will just, they will just like, oh, forget it. We're not even going to deal with it. And for that to happen, not even deal with it, be declared illegal, also takes the wind out of the sailboat. It takes the fire out of the cause, doesn't it? What do you think? Don't you think so? Do you think it's okay for just because a person is poor or just doesn't have much money that they should become bombed out of existence from an aggressor that is more well healed? The unequalness of war. Yes, there's always so-called collateral damage. Means the poor people get it. Generally, poor people, the middle class and the poor, and the people without millions of dollars, the proletarian, the worker, they have to suffer the burden of other people's desires. So it looks like with all these cards we have here, we have pulled a number of them. We have the King of Cups. The King of Cups. Now, I would say this could be the Trump administration, right? The King of Cups. And then we have the Page of Cups. It's almost two stages. The King of Cups and the Page of Cups. The 80% and the 20%. Gain, lose. Gain, lose. We have two sides, the worker and the ruler. The worker and the ruler, right? The worker and the ruler, to see who's going to get what. And then we have the money aspect. The money aspect and the earth element. The earth element. The earth element. And the acquisition of either party. Who gains, the king or the page? The page is the novel idea, and then the king is the one of the administrator. And then the whole thing is is this illegal? Is this legal? Is this legal? Is this legal? Killing poor people. And then we have the fool. Now the fool is trying to give the explanation in a garbled manner. Trying to give the explanation to trying to get over and make sure that our right is right my way. Think my way. There's a lot of mind control going on. There's a lot of forget that the pardon was given to the guy who paid the $8 million. Even though he got 45 years, forget. Look at these people in these rickety-ticky, used fiberglass or wooden boats, houseboats, dealing this. They're bringing drugs into our country. Now, the last I heard, these drug cartels, they have Star Wars type equipment, Star Wars type of machinery, vehicles. They're not running around the engine and a whole bunch of hillbillies or sandbillies, whatever you want to call them. They're not like that. They're not like that. When they do things, I mean, they have precision weapons, precision. I mean, if it was really up to par, excuse me, up to par, up to scale, they see an airplane coming, they'd be firing their lasers at them and whatnots. They're not like just going around like yup 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 yup. And then we have the King of Cups, and the King of Cups is us asking ourselves, is this the way that we want the United States people, or people in general, want to be regarded? Do we want to be regarded in terms of like, how much can you pay? How important are you? We have this stuff over in England right now, and we switch the subject a little bit. In England, these people are like the royal family. They have like, they're housed in these palatial mansions, and they're only paying a couple $1,000s a year USD, a few $1,000s a year to like live opulently with servants and everything else, while other people live in a 2x4 shanty shack, and they're paying thousands of dollars, and they're living in mansions, 20, 30, 40, 50 room mansions for a few K a year, a few pounds a year. Do you understand that something, even though they're like, oh, are they that important? Are they that much richer? Do they have that much more to give society that they only pay a few? So money is not a really tangible issue, is it? Is it? And for performance of what? Performance. What do you? I mean, the way you strut your stuff is more important than the way somebody else struts their stuff. And then we're all fixated, no matter what level of society, income level we all are going, I got a car better than you. I got a house better than you. I got shoes. I mean, it's just endless. And that's the stuff that opens us as humans to manipulation by other forces. Other forces. If somebody, let's just, again, switch the subject a little bit. If we had a planetary invasion, would they not use our personal greed and jealousy and our actions without thought to our disadvantage? Think about it. This is what is at stake in the Knight of Cups. And then we have another Cups. What does this say? 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups. Is this totally being to be vanquished? Oh, forget it. It's not going to happen. Or like we're going to like, is this it's just too much corruption, too much greed, too much. This is too much of something. To me, this does not seem that like we'll just like, we have to ask ourselves, it's too much of a like, I can't deal with this. I can't like, or just this is like one big mess. I want to get away. It's hard for like, you just think about when you go out to get your mail. Do you want to open up all your mail when it's all bills, or it's all like, oh God, what next? And this is almost a similar thing that the administration is trying to follow. It's like this legal or illegal. And again, it's not up to the politicians to decide what is legal or illegal. It's up to the people they represent. Do you want to be represented by people who think that it's okay to like, spill blood, when the problem is it's not imported, it exists already. The culture, why does the United States people need drugs? The culture, does it need to be intoxicated? Is that an intoxicated population necessary to deal with the problems at hand and the future problems at hand? And how long do you think that we are going to remain, this earth people, us earth people, are going to remain alone, 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 and thinking that humans are the pinnacle of success, the pinnacle, the top of the ladder of God's creation, the only creation? You see, there's lots of holes in all of this. lots of holes. And again, there are things in the heavens, things in the skies, things in the atmospheres, things in the solar system that are very strange right now. And you could say, well, we can beat off and show people, show things what we got. And what do we have? Do we have an explanation for chemtrails? Do we have an explanation for the drones, the orbs, 3-eye atlas? I mean, all these things. Do we have an explanation for why our air and our waters are the way that they are? Why are people like believing that they are useless? Why are they telling us that people are useless? Why are they telling you you don't need to know, you don't need to know, you don't need to do? Yes, we do need to do. We have to spend every single moment of our existence learning and studying, learning more new things. There's not a cutoff age. And all you hear on the airwaves, oh, dementia. We hear mental schizophrenia. We hear psychosis. We hear this. We have physical ailments as well as mental ailments. Is this a success? Is this like the building? You have to think about the whole process of what is being built. Think about it. Any comments? Are you happy? Are you happy that this is where we're at? They threw up the hands and let the pieces fall where they may. But the point of the matter is, you, the representative people, now you can say, oh, what can I do? But another country will look at you as giving that thumbs up to this, the thumbs up to the behavior of your politicians and your corporations that go along with it. It's it's a twisted sword. It's a twisted sword. You can't just go, none of my business. You can't just say, well, it's not me. You can't just do that. Can you be satisfied with your friends? You see little kids, little children. You see your nephews, your nieces, your mother, father, whatever. Your friends, your people you don't know, people you like, people you don't like. Can you see them as just being like mass of like jellied flesh because somebody decided to blow them up because it made you're not important enough or it just looks good? Is this a society that our humankind is like gone into, that we just bang, bang, bang because might makes right? And that is the philosophy right now. Might makes right. Now, in these little bit of goodies that somebody else has, a few gems, gold, silver, rubies, emerald mines like Elon Musk. But I mean, or a $300 house, a 300K house, a mansion, a sugar shack. Do you think that something else out there really cares that what you acquired? Our importance is self-applied application. But somebody else doesn't care. Have you traveled to foreign countries? Minute you get off that plane and you start intermingling with the air and the atmosphere and a few people, your values don't matter crap. You just find yourself, you just got like a change of clothes. Your values go, your experiences are like not reflective. Okay? They're not reflective. So that's why you have foreign countries like such as the United States going over to the Caribbean countries and in Venezuela and Colombia and going, we're going to do this or we're going to do that because the cultural difference is you don't care. You don't care. There's not enough caring. You understand what I'm saying? So I would say that the question, will Trump's drug boat war be found illegal? Well, among the participants, the active participants, they're not going to admit that this is illegal because that would get them in trouble. That would be an act of treason, to be treason for our Constitution, the United States Constitution, which they have a due process. A due process. You see, the fact that these video has been obtained for those two survivors after the first bombing, and the fact that an hour later, after they waved their hands like a bunch of like wailing ducks, wailing I don't know, seagulls, and then they were like killed. They were killed. That implies, that was like not the way to do it. It's war crime. That's a crime. That shows just how naked and that's like a mugging on the street, isn't it? I mean, how many people in the street of any American city is dealing drugs? City, town, lots. 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 So, I don't know. It puts put a gangster element in the whole thing. It puts a gangster element in the whole thing. And that is something that is not exactly what was intended. Don't you think so? Don't you think so? It's very hard to find a show. It's very hard to find something that was different. It's very hard to interpret that act. And that video hasn't quite been shown everywhere, but it will be. It's probably on the dark web. Doesn't look good. It's not a good look. It's not a good look because it's a revelation. And in fact, the fact that Trump excused the former Honduran president and his $8 million. And then, of course, Rubio was part of the Trump administration. He's friends with some Nicaraguan high ups. So, I mean, we have this who was told to do what and when and how. So lots of it's like a fishnet. There's lots of strings involved. It's complicated. It's very, very complicated. So we'll just have to see, but it doesn't look good. It's not a good look. It's not a good fit. And it's up to the people to really, really digest this second time around. Digest this. And they allow themselves to get photographed too. Well, think about it, people. Think about, if you have any comments, do you feel in your pit of your stomach, do you think in your own ability to connect with the spirits, do you think that was a good move? Do you think that this is something that can just be dismissed? No, I don't think so. It doesn't feel like it. It's painful, isn't it? Is this legal? I think this is going to be a very black mark on the Trump administration. And I'm sure it's not the way a man who touts peace would act. Even when you covet somebody else's natural resources, there's a better way to do it than this way. It's a better way to look. It's almost as though they were set up. Painful, but they were set up to have this come into light. So we'll see. Well, I'm going to leave this subject and you think about it. Until the next time, let's all hope for a better view of what we're capable of doing. And we all should remember that we do have the power. We have the power physically and mentally to yearn and achieve a better state of human being. Until the next time, thank you for your time. Please leave a comment. Thank you for the likes. And keep the faith. Bye bye.